Good morning and happy Wednesday morning to everybody. This is going to be video number 1, and it is a shorter video, but basically, if you can believe it, Meghan Markle got Markled. I'm not kidding. Okay, let's jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. I want to start this morning by saying a big thank you to Patricia, who sent this laser cat toy over from my Amazon wish list, which is in the description box. And the cats, this is the most activity I've seen out of both cats in an extremely long time. Tigger was getting into it, Finn as well, Toodles. This was a great toy. Thank you so much. And really quickly, for those of you who are looking at this and thinking I'd like to buy it, but I don't like the batteries, I was pleasantly surprised to find that this charges with a USB port. So, and it goes on standby on its own, and then, the cat movement will trigger it, so I don't have to keep turning it on and off. That's fabulous. I also want to point out that this other toy that was sent, Toodles really seems to enjoy this thing. This requires no batteries. You just hit it and the bowls kind of come around. Hours. This cat sat there for hours playing with this thing. It was just crazy. And the toy that came with this, the other toy for Finn, oh, give it back. Oh, okay. Enjoy. Yes, he loves that toy as well. So far, everything you guys have said to my animals, they've absolutely loved. All right, let's jump into our story for today. Sophie Trudeau, you guys remember her. She was formerly married to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And she has come out and played down her friendship with Meghan Markle, who Meghan implied that she had a, quote, close bond with Sophie and admired her as being emblematic of strength, is what she said. Now, in an Archetypes podcast in November of 2022, she said that Sophie, quote, used to send me little meditations during my pregnancy and voice notes of encouragement, saying that she's gone to her over the years for advice. And she also claimed that the two of them together had a day of laughter and fun at her Montecito mansion. She said the children were playing in the swimming pool on pizza-shaped floats, and they drank wine on the terrace and were giddy like schoolgirls. But when this woman was asked about her relationship with Meghan in an interview that just took place, she said, you know what, I know her, but we haven't spent much time together. And then Sophie turned the conversation over to Catherine Middleton, saying that her heart sank when she heard about her cancer diagnosis. Basically, I feel like Meghan Markle got Markled. So maybe it got to the point where Meghan is always upplaying her relationships with these women, acting like they're just the best of friends. And maybe this woman just decided that she didn't like being used in that fashion. It's obvious from the previous pictures you just saw that they were on some sort of friendly terms. We know that the two of them were at the wedding, before everything went down, and we know that they used to hang out at high-profile events. But that doesn't mean that you're super good friends with somebody. Meghan tries to take these sort of things and parlay them into big events. Now, why did their friendship cool? Well, let me tell you. There's some talk that the reason the friendship cooled is because of Meghan's falling out with Jessica Mulroney, who also used to be a stylist for Miss Trudeau. So that's how they all know each other. Without rehashing the whole thing, we know that Jessica Mulroney became embroiled in that race row with during the middle of the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020, which I think really speaks to Meghan and the way she treats her friends, because this would have been a good time for Meghan, who's never identified as Black before she met Harry, to speak up in defense of her friend. Instead, these two, who used to take all these trips together and they used to gush about each other on social media, and they were always at these high-profile events together, and it was Jess that Meghan was on the phone with the night that Harry proposed. Since then, Meghan simply just cut her off. And she just acted like she didn't exist, like their friendship didn't exist. I have to say, I think that what went on here is absolutely true. I think Meghan meets people once or twice and then embellishes on the friendship, trying to make everybody think that she's super nice, super friends with all of these women, when the truth is they've only met once or twice, and they wouldn't know her if they passed her on the street before she met Harry, that is, before she married Harry. Now, you have to remember, even though Sophie said, I really don't know her and we didn't spend much time together, she was on Archetypes. And it does look from the pictures, those ones that were taken at Soho House, the black and white ones you saw a minute ago, that they did have a close relationship. Maybe she's upset because Meghan didn't send her some of her jam. Maybe she was one of the ones, maybe she was the one that returned it. We're going to cover that in just a second with a blind item. Maybe it's because she's pushing her memoir. But for whatever reason, Sophie is trying to distance herself greatly from Meghan Markle. And we do know that anybody who has contact with anything having to do with Meghan Markle gets markled. And she wants her memoir to sell. Therefore, she's distancing herself. Now, I bet you guys are wondering how they met up in the first place. Well, come to find out that Meghan met Justin Trudeau in 2015 at the One Young World Summit in Ottawa, and then she met Sophie in 2016. Now, apparently, Justin's wife gave up a very big career in television to work with her husband on his campaign trail. And apparently the two of them like to email back and forth. And Meghan was interested to hear how Sophie had made the move from entertainment news to First Lady while staying out of controversy. Then, of course, we know that in November of 2022, Meghan had her on her Spotify podcast, and there's some discussion or some thoughts have come out that she might have been one of those interviews that was given by somebody else and then they dubbed Meghan in over the top. But for whatever reason, it's pretty obvious that this woman now really is on the side of the royal family with the comments that she made about Catherine. Personally, I think people might have warmed up to Meghan if, number one, she wasn't so fake. And number two, she didn't swap out friends like, you swap out your underwear, because that's essentially what she does. She meets them, befriends them, love bombs them, uses them, and then dumps them. All right, now a blind item came out. I just want to throw this on at the end. Some of this I believe, some I don't. So first it says that 2 of the 50 jars of jam had their labels fall off, which is why they didn't post anything. That's kind of stupid because it would take 2 seconds to tape the label back on. They're saying 1 was returned because they didn't want to post anything and they were not asked in advance and were being pressured to post. I can totally believe that. And they tried to get an address to return it and no one was getting back to them. So they just sent it to the agent's office where it sat on some rando desk for several days. That I can also believe. Do I think that she asked 50 people permission to send them the jam and have them post? No, I honestly don't. And I don't think she sent out 50 jars, honestly. All right, you guys, you know I am looking for those comments. Make them good. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button and follow me over to video number 2. You don't want to miss this. Let's go.